Hello and welcome to this session of the Wealth Summit 2021. When I arrived in Lagos in 1991, oh, by the way, I celebrated the 30th anniversary just a few weeks back, okay? I saw two sides to Lagos straight away. I saw two worlds. I saw the world of the rich. I saw the world of the poor. I made a choice. Very important. I made a choice which world I was going to live in. Over time, I've come to realize that what I did was very significant, that I made a decision. I've come to realize your decision determines your destiny. Honestly, it may not seem to make sense to a lot of people, but the truth is that a lot of people are not wealthy because they have not made up their minds to be wealthy. Wow. Yes. Your decision determines your destiny. There's power in a made-up mind. There is power in a made-up mind. And a lot of people are not going to make up their minds because they're looking at circumstances. They want to figure out how before they decide what. And it does not work that way. You decide what, and your system captures the how. Yeah? Deciding what, opens up your system, to begin to search until it catches or captures the how. Isn't it amazing how you read a book this year, you get something from it, but then you come back like 2 or 3 years later, with bigger goals, you read the same book, then you get more from the book. That's it. Your decision determines your destiny. So that's our starting point today. Have you made up your mind? Okay. Have you made up your mind? I made up my mind. I remember the day I went to Victoria Island. I was on Bishop Oluwole Street or so. And, I was walking with a friend many years ago. And I told him, this dimension of Lagos is what we are made for. This has to become our reality. Do you agree? And he said, yes. Okay. Your most important wealth creation tool is your mind. This is a wealth creation summit, so I'm sure for you to even be in this room, you have the right mindset. But just in case, we need to remind ourselves that the major difference between the rich and the poor is not external. It's not even in the bank account. It's primarily first on the inside. I tell people the heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. The heart of a wealthy man is different from the heart of a poor man. The core component of that heart is the belief system. What you believe is what you become. So the rich person knows that he is rich, that she is rich. They know. Now, the person born into a wealthy family doesn't have to struggle with that because that is their reality. That's what they see, that's what they hear. We are rich, okay? That is their experience. But for the person born into a family that is not rich, honestly, that is a barrier to jump over. And you know that most people born in Africa are born into poor families. So poverty is actually part of our culture. It's difficult to describe it like that. People don't see it that way, but that's the truth. That almost everything that a child absorbs in Africa, forms an identity of poverty. And we've got to shatter it. We've got to break it. You know why? Because we're rich already. We're rich already. We're wealthy already. Okay? I'm here to tell you that just in case for some reason you're still there. Oh no. What you believe is what you become. So the believing comes before the becoming. It's very important. So I landed in Lagos. I made up my mind where I belong. In fact, I'll tell you how strong the resolution was. The day I adapted a proverb. You know, the proverb is a Yoruba proverb. It says, if you pound yam in leaves and you prepare the soup in groundnut shells. You know how small groundnut shells are, okay? So if you pound yam in leaves and you prepare the soup in groundnut shells, the person that will be satisfied will still be satisfied. Isn't that amazing? I love it. What were the elders trying to imply, you know, by coining that adage or that proverb? It's because they had discovered that in the society, however poor you say the society or community is, somebody will still be prosperous there. So I declared for myself, I said, if they pound Nigeria's yam in leaves and they prepare Nigeria's soup in groundnut shells, I will be satisfied. Amazing. Okay, so let's move on. One of the major things that I discovered that shifted my capacity for wealth creation is just simply the fact that real money is not the paper. Okay? It's not the coins. That the real money is intangible. You don't see it with your physical eyes. It was a game changer. So I was able to reflect back, think back to the fact that money has not always been in existence, that it was created by man, that they used to do trade by barter in those days. Okay, you had tomatoes, you brought the tomatoes, I had potatoes, I brought them. We determined their relative values, we exchanged them at the market. So whatever it was I produced, or it could be a skill that I had, I exchanged it for something else that had value from you. And then it became cumbersome, carrying farm products around town to pay for everything. Then they invented money to represent the value, remember, to represent the value of the farm produce or the skill. Real money is value. Real money is value. And you don't see value with your physical eyes. So once you discover what real money is, okay, then you can take a look again at Lagos and you will see money. Okay, so let's do this simple exercise right now, you know, to teach our minds to see money. Let's go see some billions, okay? What's the population of Lagos? Let's take a round figure, make it easy, 20 million, okay? How much does the average person spend on food in a day? Now, I know that's exploded in recent times. Sachet water is now, pure water is now 20 naira. Wow, okay. So let's take a round figure again to make it convenient. You know, just average, basic. Should we pick 500 naira? Yeah, 500 naira. I know some will argue with that. No, 1,000. Okay. So let's say 500 naira, okay? Average amount of money spent on food by the average person in a day. So let's take the 500 naira and multiply it by the population of 20 million. Yes, I know. Some of us, our heads have worked it out already, but for the sake of some others, you know, this is a wealth class, so allow me to use the calculator. Okay? 10 billion naira, that's it. The average day in Lagos, at least 10 billion naira is spent on food. Let's say food and drinks. I'm sure you know there are people that spend a whole lot more than that, so the average should be a little higher than that, but let's just work with this. 10 billion naira spent on food the average day in Lagos. Multiply that by 30. Let's get how much is spent in a month. That's what? 300 billion naira spent on food the average month in Lagos. It gets better than that. 20 million people. The average person would put on at least 2 pieces of cloth in a day, on the average. That's 40 million pieces of cloth worn in Lagos every day. 40 million Sorry, 20 million pairs of shoes, one in Lagos every day. 20 million toothbrushes used in Lagos almost every day. Or every day. Yep. 20 million toothbrushes. Or should we say almost 20 million, because some people don't brush. Just a joke. 20 million. Those toothbrushes need toothpaste every day. The 20 million need to have their bath. So you see how much they need water. So you see how they need soap. So you see how they need sponges, with which to have their bath. 20 million people need houses to live in. Those houses, each of those houses need beds. Needs beds. Okay, the beds need mattresses and pillows and pillowcases and bed sheets. Okay, the houses need furniture. The houses need electronics like TV sets, and they need generating sets. I better pass my neighbor. Okay. What else? Oh, they need to move around. They need to move around. So they need cars of their own or public transportation. All the cars, all the vehicles need fuel, right? Exactly. A good chunk of the 20 million are children. They need to go to school. They need textbooks. They need notebooks. They need biro, pencil, eraser, sharpener, and all the works. Should we go on and on and on? So whoever is selling those things that people need gets money in exchange for them. So can you see money in Lagos? Can you see the billions moving around Lagos every single day? And the question is, of all the things that people need, what are you selling? Which one or which ones are you selling, and how are you selling them? So these are just basics, right? These are just basics. I wanted us to get those right before we move on. Of all the things that people need in Lagos, okay, and they need information of various kinds, of all the things that people need in Lagos, they need money, right? They need banking services, they need loans, okay? Of all the things that people need in Lagos, which of them are you providing? They need to communicate, they need their phones, they need a SIM card, they need, credit and things like that. Of all the things that people need in Lagos, which of them are you selling? Big question, isn't it? Once you have that cleared, the next question will be, how are you selling it? Are you selling at a profit? Have you observed that you go to some restaurants and the seats are empty, you walk in really freely, and then you go to some other restaurant and there's a queue? Oh, you need to run your business in such a way that there's a queue. You need to run your business in such a way that there is a queue. That's very important. That's the little bit of time that I have left. That's what I want to talk about. That's what I want us to zero in on today, because I don't need to tell you, it is obvious enough that the restaurant that has the queue is making a whole lot more money than the one that doesn't have a queue. And the likelihood, in fact, is that the one that doesn't have a queue is managing to break even or probably running a loss. It is when the demand is more than the supply, when you have those queues, that is when you are likely to make a profit. How do you get your business to run in such a way that you have the queues, that you have the waiting list, that what you're doing is there's more demand than supply? Okay, good. So I'm using those words already. It's basic economics, demand and supply, right? Yes, demand and supply. When demand is more than the supply, the profits have the opportunity to go up. When the supply is more than the demand, the potential for selling goes down, the potential for making profits also goes down. Very important. Have you observed the way it works? Let's draw an illustration from the stock market. Okay? Yes. Illustration from the stock market. When the buyers of a stock, the people buying a stock, the demand for the stock is higher than the people selling, which is the supply of the stock, the price of the stock does what? It goes up. When the demand for a stock is higher than the supply, the stock goes up. When the supply of a stock is higher than the demand, the price of the stock goes down. Yeah? When you have more sellers of a particular stock, okay, of the stock of a particular company, when the people selling are more than the people buying, the price of the stock goes down. Please use the principle, the laws of demand and supply to the advantage of your business. I have some bits of advice on how to do that. Don't sell what is supplied by everybody. I know it's the basic way a lot of people run their businesses in our environment. Oh, this is what is selling now. And it is when a lot of people are doing it, that's when they go in. Oh, well, eventually what happens? You have more supply than demand. And then the price begins to go down, or your capacity to sell begins to go down. So if you don't want to be at the losing end based on that principle, don't sell what everybody is selling. Or if you do, then you must differentiate yourself. If you do, you must differentiate yourself. That way you create your own market. You create your own category. That's it. You know, basically we know that the human mind categorizes and the human mind ranks. Once you're in a field or industry where you are not part of the top 3, it becomes difficult to see you. It becomes difficult for people's mind to see you, to recognize you. At the point at which they make their decisions, if you are not part of the top, if you're not close to the top, you're not top of mind, you're not part of their decision making. Okay? So even if you're selling what everybody is selling, it's good you create a new category. So it's okay to sell cars, but then there are cars and there are cars, right? Find a distinctive feature about what you are selling, or to add to what you're selling. So don't sell what everybody is selling, right? Good. Number 2, and if you must do, differentiate yourself. Next, don't sell to everybody. I'll say that again. You don't need to sell to everybody. Sell to the people that find what you are selling highly valuable. I was sharing this concept with a friend, and he's a doctor, a medical doctor. And so when I said, he said, whoa, something just came up in my mind. An image just came up in my mind. I said, what is it? He said, if I am selling chloroquine, okay. He said, if I'm selling chloroquine, I should not be surprised that a lot of people will not be interested in my chloroquine. I said, right. It's a person that has malaria, okay, that will find the chloroquine valuable. Sometimes we make big mistakes in business. Honestly, we struggle. We give ourselves, very difficult experiences trying to sell to everybody, or trying to sell to a lot of people that do not find what we are selling valuable. But for God's sake, someone needs the chloroquine. Find them. Don't sell to everybody. Find those that find what you are selling to be highly valuable. Then what should you do? Focus on them. Focus on them. You don't need others. Focus on those ones, okay? And focus on serving them better than anyone else in your environment. That's all. Just focus on those. Should I repeat what I just said? You don't need to sell to everybody. Sell to those that find what you have highly valuable. Thank you. So what does that imply? Be comfortable with a lot of people not buying your products and services. Be comfortable with that. Oh my, oh my. I can't tell you how understanding this has delivered me from stress and from frustration. You know, that's what we do. We decide to sell something and then we begin to chase everybody. And because we're chasing the wrong people, we're getting a lot of rejection, and then eventually we get frustrated. Right? So be comfortable with the fact that there will be a lot of people that will be missing out on your products and services. That's fine. You just try to determine the profile, okay? The profile of your ideal customer. The people that are crazy about what you're selling. Then you find where to get them. What they read, where they go, so that you know where to put your adverts, right? And then serve them the best way that you can. So how do you make the law of demand and supply to work for you? Okay? Because you have to play on the principle now and make it work for you. How do you tilt the scale in favor of demand? Number one, innovate. Okay? Innovate. So that means that you've introduced a new idea, you know, that is unique to you and that they can't find anywhere else. That way, you control the supply, isn't it? Exactly. So because it's unique to you, then you make it unique. I mean, just like, the iPhone, okay? I mean, it's just in a class all by itself. So it's an innovation and it's patented, trademarked. When you innovate like that, a unique product or a unique service or a unique system, then you can control the rate of supply. Number two, if you're going to make demand work in your favor, build relationships. Build relationships. Build relationships. Okay? Let me give you an example. In our organizations in Nigeria, we've been using the same auditor for years. We don't want to go through the border of shopping for another auditor because the person's been good. Do your business like that. Build strong relationships with the people you have. It's amazing, right? It's amazing how we expend a lot of energy chasing new customers, right? A lot of whom don't find what we're selling valuable. In fact, highly valuable. What's the point? Stay with the people you have, serve them to the best of your ability, and cultivate deep relationships with them. After some time, they won't want to go through the border of looking for somebody else to serve them. Just imagine that the auditor that I'm talking about, you know, in one of our organizations, he was the auditor when our total income for the year was 2.7 million naira. He is the auditor now when the income is billions. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? Relationships. Yeah. 3, convenience. Convenience. If you can just find a way to make things easy, make things really, really easy, much easier for your customers than they would find it somewhere else. More convenient to buy, more convenient to pay, you know, more convenient to find where you are, more convenient. Honestly, convenience, introducing a better level of convenience helps you to beat competition in many ways. Right? Yes. And then number 4, price. Price. If you can find a way to either sustain or increase the quality of your offer while being able to lower the prices, you won people over. You won people over. You tilted the scale in your favor. But there are basic things that you can do to be able to scale like that or take advantage like that. For example, acquiring assets. Acquiring assets. If you've been renting an asset and then you check, maybe buying, will help you to put down the cost per unit, of your service or product. Then acquiring the asset may lower your unit cost. That may be the smart thing to do. Okay, sometimes there are inefficiencies in the system. I mean, there is something that if you kill it, nothing will die. Okay, it will absolutely affect. Then kill it. Maybe it takes time or it takes money. Take it out. So you can, reduce inefficiencies like that. And then leveraging systems and technology. It's huge because systems and technology help you to save time, systems help you to use other people's time, other people's money, and multiply your capacity to produce results. So those 4 things: innovating, increasing the level of excellence, being unique, okay, and then building relationships, increasing convenience, and being able to adjust your price without lowering the quality. So that is what I'm hoping to see. That is what I hope you achieve, that you have the cues, okay? I've practiced it, I've tested it. If you organize an event, you don't need to go for a big hall and then have a few people there. You start with a small space, let the place be overrun. Even if it can only take 20 people, and then you have people outside, then you get that dynamic, demand and supply, right? Yes, so the demand was more than the supply. Let that always work for you in your business. And I see you shifting to the next level of wealth. I want to encourage you to patronize the business opportunities offered by the Pertinence Group and their group of companies. And let's create wealth together. Hopefully the next time I see you, you'll have powerful stories to share with me. Thank you, and do have a great day.